Okay, this is the practice video for Theory Book 1, pages 1 and 2. So these questions are very similar to the ones you have in your book. Let's get into it. First, we have to fill in our musical alphabet. We remember that our musical alphabet goes from A to G and repeats, or we can start it anywhere. In this case, we are starting from E. So we know that after E comes F, after F comes G, and then it repeats. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and let's check that we're right. After B comes C, so that works. D, E, F, and finally G. Now we're going to put it onto the keyboard. Now on the one you have, it's a little bit easier because it gives you some of the letters, but I didn't think you needed it when we did this. So we find our two black keys, and in between our two black keys is our D. D after D in our musical alphabet. We can cheat by looking up here. D, E, F, G, and then let's use our backwards musical alphabet, G, F, E, D, C. And after G, it restarts. We go back to A and B. So we remember that our musical alphabet goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and repeats. You can even write that on kind of a practice sheet beside your theory homework so that you're just making sure. Let's double check. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, F, G, A, B. So we know that we're going in the right order. Use our two black keys to find our D. Okay. So fix that. What is this called? We're referring to this little set of lines here. It has 5 lines and 4 spaces. That must be a staff, right? We've talked about that before. How many lines does it have? Well, we just talked about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. And we also know then that it has 4 spaces in between those 5 lines. This note, is it on a line or a space? So remember that we talked about how if you have a ring on your finger, that means it's going around your finger. So it's going around a line. So this one is on a line. Is this note on a line or a space? It is between 2 lines. It isn't on a line. It is in a space. Okay. Now we have to draw one note that's on a line and one note that's in a space. So remember that our note has to be around a line. So I'm going around. I'm going to make it a whole note. So it's just a circle like this and one on a space. So remember that it has to be between 2 lines and it is in a space. Now I'll want your circles to be a little neater than mine because you'll be using a pencil and paper, and I'm trying to do this on a computer, but you'll get the idea. Draw notes on the 4 spaces of the staff. So we know that it has to be in between these 5 lines. So here's our bottom space, our next space, our third space, and our 4th and final space. And now we need to draw notes on the 5 lines of the staff. So we go around a line. Sorry, that's too messy. I'm not going to keep that one. Make sure when you're doing this that it's going around a line and it's not in between, or else I will have to resend it to you. And you don't want to do it corrections if you don't have to on something as silly as sloppy work. So make sure they look nice. Okay, let's label a full staff. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit on this one. Hopefully that works for you. We remember that our bottom line, if we go through every good boy deserves fudge, our bottom line is E. And working backwards, we can determine that E in our musical alphabet, D comes before that, and C comes before that. So C, now this is the first note in the space, so that must be F. Every good is G. Now we have F, A, C, E for space. Every good boy for B. F, A, C. Every good boy deserves. Our spaces are F, A, C, E. Our top line, every good boy deserves fun, is F. And using our musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and A. We will get more into these notes above and below the staff as we go. Right now, we're mostly focused on these ones, but we can use our musical alphabet to figure out before and after these notes that are on the staff. Excuse me. Label the following notes. Okay, so we're starting with our notes in the spaces. We remember that face is in the space. We start from the bottom. This will be an F. Then we come over to this note. It is the second space. It is an A. Then we have our third one is a C. And our top space is an E. Then at the bottom, we have notes on a line. Remember the song notes. The line is E, every. G is good. B is boy. D for deserves. And F for fun. What are some phrases we can use to remember the names on the notes of the lines and spaces? We have been talking about this, but now let's get back into it. E stands for every. G is good. B is boy. D is deserves. And F is fun. Then we get to spaces. And we have face, and we remember the face is in the space. That covers everything for our practice questions, but we're going to go back quickly and we are going to review everything we just did to make sure we're really, really solid on it. So we'll go back up to the top. We had to fill in our musical alphabet. You remember in our first video, we talked about how our musical alphabets, we can start it at A, but we don't have to. This one starts at E. You'll also notice that I capitalized all of these letters that I filled in. Remember to use capital letters. Also, now's a good time to remember to use pencil because there will always be little mistakes to correct. So make sure you're writing in pencil, and when we're using our musical alphabet that we're doing capital letters for note names. Then we put it onto a keyboard. Our keyboard was what went from C to B. How we found that out was we used our two black keys. We found our two black keys, and we know that the white key in between the two black keys is our D. And then we counted up using our musical alphabet. I think we even talked about writing it down. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Remember, what would come next? Let's figure that out. What would come next on both sides? A, B, and then we have C would be our next note. And what would come before C on this side? Let's cheat. Let's use this B and remember that the B comes before C. Okay, we'll go back up. We talked about our staff. We said, what is this called? This is our staff. You'll often see it with a treble clef. I'm going to try to draw one with this computer pad, but it might not work. In the video, we talked about it being a G clef because you can see that goes around the G. This is our staff. How many lines does it have? We counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every good boy deserves fun. How many spaces does it have just for fun? F-A-C-E. F is 1, A is 2, C is 3, and E is 4. Then we talked about, is this note on a line or a space? We remembered that if you are wearing a ring on your finger, that means the ring is going around your finger. So if you see a note on a line, that means it is around a line. So this is a note on a line. How about this one? Is it a line or a space? We can see that it is between two lines. It is in between them, so it is in a space. Now, here is another little challenge. What note is this? I'll give you a minute to figure out on your own. Let's count it. Every good boy deserves. This is a D. And is this note on a line or space? We said it was a space. So what do we use to count our spaces? We use the faces in the space. F, A, C, E. This is the bottom. This is an F. Then we had to draw a line and a note on a line and a note in the space. What I want you to do now is I want you to figure out what these two notes are. I'm sorry that this one is a little bit messed up, but just remember that it is a note on a line. I'll give you a minute. Okay, so we count up. This one on our line is every good boy deserves. It's a D. And this one is a note in a space. F, A, C, E, F, A is our note. I'm just giving you a little extra challenge here. You don't have to do this, but I think it's good to review it anyway. We had to draw notes on the 4 spaces of the staff. So we drew 4 in between the 5 lines. You can see that these are also F, A, C, E, because we can always use the extra practice. And our notes on the 5 lines, we drew them around the lines. This one is an E. We remember every good is a G, boy is a B, deserves is a D, and fun is an F. Then we did a full staff. We found our every, we found our E, and then we did E, G, B, D, and F. And then we found our spaces, F, A, C, E. You'll also notice that this works as a musical alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So that you can always rely on that if you ever forget what's coming next. Just remember, if you can figure out every, then you can count up the rest of the notes. Then we've labeled these notes. We remembered that our spaces use F, A, C, and E, and our lines use every good boy deserves fun. And so I know that we've been talking about this lots and we've been doing it over and over, but I really want you to get solid on this so you can figure them out quickly. Then we talked about the phrases we could use to remember the names of the notes. E for every, G for good, B for boy, D deserves, and F for fun, so that we have our notes on the line, which are E, G, B, D, and F. And then we had our faces in the space, face in the space for our notes in the space, which are F, A, C, and E. Remember that if you're looking for some extra practice on top of this, that you can always use your hand as our finger staff that we talked about in the lesson video. Your bottom finger, your pinky, is your E, and you count up from there. Okay, we're finished the practice videos. If you're still having trouble, feel free to join our Zoom meeting. I look forward to seeing you.